for this week. Yes, thank you very much. And so, permit me to reestablish a few things. If you don't have your writing materials, I'd like to kindly indulge that you see it again. Now, I would like to, okay, I like to consciously state very clearly that every morning you come for sessions like this, you've got to prepare to learn and to grow. And it has to be a conscious effort. You have to learn, to prepare, to grow. And growth we must. Can somebody say growth we must? Say it again, say growth we must. All right. I want to believe everyone out there could be hearing properly, so let's do something around getting sure that the volume is quite loud enough for everyone out there. So I'd like to establish a few truths for this week. And this will be my candid advice for you this week. Everyone possibly watching from here and watching online. The first thing I want you to know is this. That in its very true sense, there is nothing called a new week. There is nothing called a new week. There is nothing called a new month. In fact, to be very sincere, there is nothing called a new year. According to the authority of scriptures, that happens to be not just a spiritual reference guide for us. God created day or night and what? Day. That's the truth. God created night and day. And so for those who are waiting to live their lives by batches of weeks, months, years, and all of that, it's a good thing. It helps you plan in the long run. But how about we stop planning for days, hours, minutes, and start planning for a lifetime? Are we together? God values the existence of people by a lifetime experience. And so you can see all around scriptures that there are quite a lot of people who seem not to be relevant at some point in their lives. And then only one thing happened in their lives, and then everything changed. And so, like I said, God values our life by the principle of lifetime experiences. And the unit for life is time. So how you manage your time will invariably affect your life effect. Can I say it again? How you manage your time will determine your life effect. And so it means that for anybody who wants to make the best use of their life's experience, you've got to learn to manage your time. For example, the effect of sitting right here, right now, before me, to either learn, grow, and develop yourself, has an effect on your life. Like I said yesterday, I taught yesterday, oh dear, permit me to introduce yesterday's teaching. The theme for yesterday's teaching actually is a series. It's Finally My Brethren, and I think you should go check out that teaching. It's a teaching that will shape your life and will give you an idea on how to end the year, how to review your goals through the year, and how to get back at it again. And so if you've not listened to that teaching, please kindly do, and the Lord will grant you grace. So mind you, like I said before, I am committed to training people as leaders. And why? The consequence of not raising leaders will be to be shouting at everything you're not able to raise as a leader. Every time you see, actually we say this very popularly, that a bad workman will always blame his tools. Are we together? But you see the same tools in the same hand, in the hand of somebody else. Without trouble, the person is just going through the usage and all of that. In fact, can I tell you the truth? The same guy who blames his tools under another circumstance, after being trained, becomes friendly with his tools. And so you can truly tame life. Can I say it again? You can tame life to the extent to which you are trained for life. In fact, this is why in life God gives a stage or a sense of season that grants you grace to be trained for the after effect of life. There are people that say there are 4 seasons of life. In whatever way you want to categorize it, you can. But one of the most integral stages of life is what we call the preparation stage. You cannot become what you've not prepared for. Even Jesus himself had to prepare for 30 years. Can I shock you? Do you know that there were quite a lot of people who were already on the scene by the time Jesus came? Prophets, all of that. But Jesus was prepared till the age of 30, started his preparation quite early, and then arrived at the age of 30, had made all the flaws and all of that, mistakes and all of that, and now it was time to display what he had learned. And under 3.5 years, he was able to shape the world. Those who prepare will always have a platform to manifest. Let me tell you, God is still faithful with life to ensure that life gives you an opportunity. Write it down. I think it was Dr. Miles Monroe. I will mention his name most definitely. That will be one of the most mentioned names throughout my series in this wise. It was Dr. Miles Monroe that says, God said to everything in scripture, said to everything through Solomon, right? Said to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. It means that if you give time to something, God will create the purpose for it. This is very powerful. Do you know that even to fail, God will give you an opportunity to fail? Life, if you prepare to fail, life will give you a shot at failure. And so, our lives are a product of the things which we have done or which we refuse to do. And so in that wise, I'd like you to go and listen to, I think the whole leadership series has been packaged into a module, all right? So you can go download the whole series for last week. That will be week 1, and this should be week 2. So I am going to read something for us, or okay, I will read something for us, and then I expect that we are able to find the wisdom in what I'm about reading. In the sense of preparation, a David without a Goliath is just a kid playing with rocks. Did you get the catch? A David without a Goliath is just a young boy playing with stones or rocks. What does that mean? It is challenges that give value to what is in your hands. Those who are going to end up as great leaders are those who have imbibed and embraced the natural act of facing challenges. Can I say it again? Those who are going to end up great leaders are those who have embraced the natural act of meeting challenges. Now, to a failure, let me tell you how he prays. Today is Monday. Let me show you how he prays. He says, Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, right? That's good. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Then he says, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Then his emphasis, he forgets every other thing he has said. But you know what he says? Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now let me tell you, the problem is not the prayer. The problem is his idea of evil. Once he says that prayer, he is expecting that as he goes out, everything that should come to him should be favor, favor, favor. He greets you, then you give him 50 million. He winks at you, then you give him 10 million. He just matches you, sir. He matches you, then he expects like 20,000 naira. So that is his idea. But can I tell you the idea a man who wins goes out with? He goes out with the perception that there is going to be a problem he's going to face out there, which he has been built to solve. And this will take me to a very important note. Those who are great in life expect challenges, but they expect challenges as opportunities. And you know the problem for quite a lot of contemporary Christian folks, a lot of us have been taught fear in packages or packets of wisdom. And you've heard me say this before. Don't let elders teach you fear in packets of wisdom. Can I say it again? Don't let elders teach you fear in packets of wisdom. One more time. Don't let elders teach you fear in packets of wisdom. Somebody's failure can become his holy grail. And so because of that, he takes it and put on you. And because of that, you now believe that you can never attain the level or the height. There are many of us whose dream has been cut short, not because God said so, but because a lot of us have been counseled by the fears of people. This is powerful. You've allowed the fear of somebody out there to counsel you into failure. Can I tell you something very powerful? When I was going to get married, few years before I would get married, there was nothing I did not hear about marriage. Oh, marriage is bad. You know, some did not just use the word bad, but when you hear everything they say, you just, the next thing, if you see M before you see rage, you run away. Now, do you know what happens? God had to take me from where I was to another whole new environment to express to me what it meant. You know, possibly where I grew up, when people were married, it was looking like a place of, a place of, let's just, two Christian couples just living together for the sole purpose of giving birth to children, going to church, and then the triangle effect is playing out. But guess what happens? Now, one of the greatest things God did for me was taking me to serve where I went to serve. And then I meet this set of people who possibly had a different view about marriage. The first thing I was shocked to see was that for the first time, a husband or a wife was able to call her husband by his name. What? And do you know, from where I was raised, and the places I had been, if as a man of God, right, as a man of God, okay, there are only few names you can call your husband, either honey, daddy, or papa. So when I went to serve, I met this lady who first looked, possibly would have heard, everybody would have heard about the wonderful things God had used me to do, because there were people from my school who had gone to serve in those places. And everybody was calling me Papa, Papa, Papa. So I'll be nicely saying, no. But in my heart, I loved it. We are all brethren here in Christ, but I loved it somehow. Then this lady walks up to me and calls me by my name. Rotimi, how far? What? You know how Haman started having beef with Mordecai? That was how my own started. I said first, it's not even a guy that calls me by my name. It was a lady. Now, do you know the funny thing? I want you to imagine me explaining to somebody that the reason why I am angry with a sister is because she called me by my name. Not my father's name, my own name. And then she will do it with some level of franchise. And you know the worst thing? When it was time to pair us up to cook, they paired us up together. So you know what? I will leave her alone and go and act as though I was praying when it was time for both of us to cook, because I know she will say, Rotimi, help me pound that thing. Do you understand why others, when they are even bringing food for me, Papa, like, please take us. No. I loved it. And then one day, I think that would be 3 months in, one day, in fact, do you know the funny thing? Because of that, I left the family house. I went and got my own house. Because of that, I said, I don't want insult. I went, got my own house. I was staying. Till today, some of my load, I left it in the house. was there, and the Lord said, why are you running away from where I sent you? Go back there. The day people saw me coming back with my bag, they didn't know the dealing of the Lord in that wise. I came back, and then I was praying one time, and the Lord said to me, he said, Rotimi, why are you really angry with this sister? I said, then all of a sudden it made sense. He now asked me, Rotimi, what is your name? So now imagine me telling God my name is Papa. And then he asked me, go meet her, apologize. And then she was cooking alone. So I went. I said, sister, God told me to come and say sorry. Hello, just apologize. Why are you carrying me? And so I went. Then she said, so exactly, what exactly is your problem? I said, it's the way you just call my name without respect. You say, please, I'm sorry, but what is your name? And then we reconciled at that point. Now, one of the beautiful things I learned from that lady was how she expressed the idea of marriage while we started conversing. She was around people that, can you imagine your mother calling? And I discovered that with most great men, Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, his wife can actually call him, Brother Copeland, and all of that. And so guess what happens? I saw a whole new ideology that began to shape my mind. And so that began to give me an opening. You know what I had to do? I had to delete almost everything I had heard or I had seen about marriage. The first thing I had to start saying was marriage is a beautiful thing. Once in a while, I'm not saying that the challenges don't show up, but I had to start speaking to myself. For me to see the good I want to see in it, I had to start talking to myself again. There are some of you who are about going out into your business. Right now, you don't believe that you will succeed already. And can I tell you something very powerful? The first thing that destroys your chances of making it in any expedition is your perception about it. When God was going to ask Gideon to go and fight, was the first thing he said to him. He said, look for everyone that is afraid and tell them to go back home. He called for battle, 32,000 people came. When God said, these people are too much, so he asked God, how will I tell them to go back? Some of us will be happy. Everybody came out. No. God said, no, that's not how I work. So he said to him, ask them, anybody who is afraid, anybody that already feel they will die in this battle, take them out. And you know the reason? Because anybody that truly felt they would die would die. It's the truth. Anybody that believes, listen, if you don't believe you will succeed in your business, you don't succeed in your political career, get out of it. It is not a business. It's not. Can I tell you something? Even in the forex trade, where people believe that money gets lost, people truly make money. You know the matter. Listen, it's one thing to go into it because somebody said so. It's another thing to have conviction about it. It is conviction that is the first thing you stand on. That's why you see people succeed where others fail. So guess what? He said, let those who are scared go. You know the funny thing? 10,000 people left. Meaning if they had gone into that battle, they would have been claiming, we have crowd. But by the time they are done, 10,000 people will be dead. So 10,000 people left. Now remaining how many people? 22,000. And then guess what? God says they are still too much. Can I tell you the truth? Never journey in deep waters with people who are not certain they will succeed. You see, there are things you don't say. Recently, I had to, make one or two corrections. Listen, along the line of, a few of us. And I said something. Listen, when you know you are going to go through deep waters in a particular area, there are things you don't say. You empower Satan in those areas. the possibility of those things stopping you because you have reiterated it. In fact, can I tell you the truth? I and my wife have a rule in our home. We don't say fears. Now, do I mean we don't have concerns? We call it concerns. And concerns means you can do something about it. Fears means you don't have any right against it. You just need to meet up with it. Because Job said, what I greatly fear happened to me. There are people who come into ministry with the perception, oh, it will not succeed. You're right now going for a deal, a business deal. And no wonder. Now, some of you saw a clip I sent to us. All right? And what was in that clip? A man flew for almost 6 hours. Now, you know what it is to fly for 6 hours? From Abuja to Port Harcourt is 45 minutes. Now, I want you to imagine the distance on 6 hours on a flight. In fact, now imagine he flew for 6 hours and appeared before a man who he wanted to employ him. And then he asked the man, please, the man asked him, why did I employ you? He said, because I flew 6 hours, I have a daughter and a son, I want to be a good worksman and all of that, and all of that. I want to work for you and all of that. And then he said, I'm sorry, thank you, I can't hire you. And the man said, no problem. Then they asked the man backstage. He said, I'm going to be a wealthy man with or without him. And they now asked the man who was supposed to employ him, why did you not employ him? He said he gave up too soon. He said, I said I was not going to employ him to see what his first response will be. But immediately I said so, he nicely, can I tell you, niceness at some point can become your greatest enemy. The kind of deals you're going to meet this week, don't you know that there are many others like you? Why should it be you? Why should it be you? Why should it be you? And listen, this is why, real truth. Now, and I'm sharing from the depth of my heart. There is nothing called impossibility to me. Nothing. Listen, there's nothing. I say this by the mercies of God. There is nothing I don't believe God can make me. There is no level or no threshold that you look at and say, oh, this one is for this set of people. But then, for you, this is where you are. It's a lie. I don't know anything like class. Where God wants to put me, he can put me. If today God says, Rotimi, it is my will for you to be the president of Nigeria. Oh dear, you are joking. I will button up my suit and go into that office as though I always knew I would do it. There are some of you right now, you have deals, you have contracts, you even had goals. Can I say something I learned? Can I say something I learned? Procrastination is a proof that you were afraid before you went for it. There are some of you who are supposed to make certain today. There are some of you who are supposed to do certain contracts today. There are some of you who are supposed to use today. Why are you afraid of doing it? You tell yourself, I'm going to do it better tomorrow. No. It's because you are scared. And let me tell you the truth. The more you procrastinate, the more you empower your fear. This is why sometimes, as soon as an idea comes to your heart, put it into action. Now, I was talking about something last week, and I want to stress on it just a little bit. And in few minutes, I want to share a few ideas I think that will shape your mind for a lifetime run. If you want to be a leader that is able to face many challenges, apart from the fact that you've learned to speak to yourself, learn to travel and expose yourself to multiple healthy environments. Can I tell you one thing? Somebody who always lived in the water, even when they come to the land, will always feel that there is water after the first layer of the land. Do you notice that to great men, there is nothing like a failed environment? Immediately this environment seems to be failing, they travel to another. You know what Jesus said to his disciples? It's a leadership idea. He said, when I sent, he said, he sends them. Now, this was Jesus trying to say you can carry out any vision with nothing. You can start any vision with nothing. He said, do not carry an extra bag. Do not carry an extra stick. Do not carry an extra purse. Don't even carry any extra money in your pocket. This was Jesus trying to tell his disciples that a day will come, people will send you out with no advantage. But there is a wisdom with which you will enter and still take over. Now, guess what he said to them? He said, when you go to a city and you are not accepted, you know what you do? He said, dust the dust off your feet and go to the next one. He said, you will not have gone round the cities before the Son of Man comes. You know what that means? It's a powerful idea in vision-driven leaders. They don't believe that the gifting they have is the problem. They believe that the environment is the problem. There is a healthy environment for every gifting. There are some of you right now, you don't even believe in yourself again. And you know the reason? And permit me to just say this. Can you challenge yourself once in a year to travel to a place you've not gone before? And you know the bad thing most times with all of us, some of us, when you are traveling to a new place, you go to the place where things don't happen. There's something that happens in China, I think once or twice a year. It's called the trade fair. Now, if you go to China, there are actually areas of China that are not worth staying in. In fact, we have what we call the ghost towns of China. Meaning there are places in China that nobody stays in. Whole villages, all old people in those places have died. But why is it that people say China is beautiful? They go to where things happen. Listen, when you want to travel to expose your mind, travel to where the possibilities you desire are already evident. I heard from Dr. Miles Monroe. He said that every year he makes it a point of duty to at least travel to at least 2 to 3 countries that uphold the ideologies he wants to see in his life. Everything you are dreaming about is a reality somewhere. It's as simple as that. Number 2, get exposed to leadership systems of other countries. You will think that your idea of leadership is the best until you go and see that of others. Has it shocked you? See, has any of you read any book on leadership lately? I challenge you, just try. Go and pick a book on leadership. Are we together? Your idea is until you see how foolish your idea seems to be. Expose your mind to other leadership models. And how do you do this? Interact with other leaders. For the first 5 to 10 years of the Winners Church, Bishop David Oyedepo kept on bringing great minds to Winners Church. Brought in Dr. Miles Monroe, brought in Bill Winston, brought in Kenneth Copeland, until, guess what? They were able to maximize leadership potential. You see, a lot of people think that there is monopoly of wisdom, in the sense that you just feel that all you can do is based on what God put inside you. It's a lie. There is wisdom God has put in others that is working. And whether you like it or not, in life, your life will reflect the areas of wisdom you've not captured. One thing Dr. Miles Monroe will always do in his international leadership retreat will be to gather presidents of corporations, presidents of countries, put all of them in a room and allow them to interact. Sometimes, you know what he will do? He will create a problem scene and ask every one of them to use their approach to solve it without hurting humanity. And oh dear, let me tell you the truth. You will see the best of minds come up. Number 3, you have to understand that leadership naturally creates enemies. Get used to enemies. And can I tell you one truth? When you understand that leadership creates enemies, it will teach you to understand something. Number 1, you have to know the enemies you fight. Number 2, you have to know the enemies you avoid. Number 3, you have to know the enemies you pacify. Write it down. Know the enemies you fight. Number 2, know the enemies you avoid. Number 3, know the enemies you do what? Pacify. The Bible speaking in Luke, what does he say? He says that, is there a man who wants to build a tower who does not first sit down to do what? Count the cost. Then he said, or is there a king who wants to go into battle who will not first weigh his soldiers and see whether he has possibilities of winning the battle? If he knows that he does not have the strength to win the battle, what does he do? He will send an envoy ahead to go and plead with who? The enemy. There are many of us who are fighting battles we are not ready for. And how do you know you are not ready for the battle? When the aftermath of the battle comes, can you stand it? For example, you see people talking against powerful people, and you too, maybe God did not send you. You open your own mouth and you are talking. Now when they come and carry you, and maybe God did not lay it in your heart. You know, recently, there happens to be this lady that spoke against a brand in Nigeria. Spoke against a brand. They produce tomatoes. I think that would be Eric tomatoes or something like that. I guess what happened when she was speaking, you know, she thought that when she take it to social media, my social media people, I know you, my fans will stand for me. Trust that adamant Igbo man. The Igbo man sued her to court. You know, at some point she was saying, I know my fans. When trouble comes, when you know that fans are fans. They are not followers. They left Madame alone. They begged, the man refused. The man sued her to court, and I think she was reprimanded. And now I think she's still locked up. If I'm not mistaken, yes, I think I saw something like that. If I'm not mistaken, just allegedly. That's allegedly, of course. Allegedly, just for clarity's sake. Now, the funny thing is, she's in prison. And do you know the funny thing? Whether you like it or not, you will beg him. If you don't beg him, your family will say, are you mad? Are you mad? Wait, you're allowing us. Nobody will bring food to you in the prison again. Do you understand? You can't. The Bible said, do not incur the wrath of a king. He said, because the king, he said, the wrath of a king is. Have you seen pastors? After they finish speaking, with all, they can cast out demons that are like, the queen of the coast, they can cast out. But one police with a handcuff, or humble or anointing. Listen, this is why, can I tell you the truth? Can I tell you the truth? Great leaders, all right? Let me just to shock you a little bit. Do you know that Daniel never attacked Nebuchadnezzar, though he was the one that killed his father? It was Nebuchadnezzar that killed his father, killed his family members, and took them captive. Guess what? Daniel just kept quiet. The greatest peacemakers are those that make peace without war. True. See, now the truth is this: there can be no peaceful peace without war. That's the truth. But I'm talking about those in the corridors of power. Did it shock you There's a guy, yes, the idea is actually negotiation. Negotiation is the art of ensuring that heavy matters are settled without bloodshed. Now, you know something very powerful. There happen to be these two clashing communities in Dida Drogba's country. In fact, very big clash. Lives have been lost and all of that. You know what happens? And I think Dida Drogba, the footballer, had been born in one of those places. The guy was quiet. For years, people kept on killing themselves. I want you to imagine that the guy took a knife or a gun to go and start fighting. My dear, with his boot, they will kill him. So you know what? He rises to the peak of his football career. Then you know what he does? He organizes a novelty match and brings in major players from around the world. When they finished playing, you know what he did? He prostrated before the two communities. With communities that will, on a normal day will see each other and kill themselves, will come out to watch football. Prostrated before them and begged them to drop their arms. Can I tell you, governments have tried to broker that peace. It never happened. But a footballer brokered that peace. A footballer brokered that peace. You see, can I tell you something? All this, does it shock you that terrorists can go into a whole community, be killing people, everybody standing, we will not agree. Then one man just goes to the terrorist camp and looks at them and says, guys, stop this thing. What? And the boss will look at all his men that have been killed and you say, if not for my friend. But see, this is why, can I tell you, I said I have an agenda next year. When we say we are building leaders, it's no joke. Men that will broker peace at global levels. I want to see men that when Israel and Palestine are having crisis, they'll just go into the country and the prince of, or the, what do they call it? The president of Israel look and say, Kai, because of you, we lay down our arms. A lot of people may not love Donald Trump, but believe you me, that the man is good. You saw when they signed the peace treaty between countries? Donald Trump has gone to North Korea, where no president has gone. Donald Trump has met with Putin. In fact, when Donald Trump was not given the Nobel Prize for Peace, he got angry, and FIFA came and gave him the If you don't understand what I'm saying, you need to come up in leadership. Don't worry. Your distance is very far. You only think leadership is handling people. We are talking about handling economies, handling government that two big politicians are dragging, and people are going to die if one does not give up. And you just come in and say, come. Both of you are too big for this. You allow him. And that is it. But you cannot do that until you understand what we mean. And in the next few days, we are going to be talking about leaders assessing corridors of power. How to assess corridors of power. Can I tell you one? Let me just drop a bit about it because I have a lot on my plate in that wise. When you want to assess corridors of power, can I tell you your greatest enemy in assessing corridors of power? Is human prejudice. Your greatest advantage when you want to assess a corridor of power is neutrality. You know what neutrality is? Neutrality is that you don't take any side. I want to ask you, have you seen any businessman in Nigeria who is in a political party? Immediately you choose a political party, you know what you've done? You've ostracized other business people. You've ostracized. And do you notice that many people's business died when they stood for a party? Because the party they stood against won. No contract. They blocked all their. In fact, that's why there's no billionaire without leverage. There's this billionaire in Nigeria actually, that actually everybody knew at some point supported a political party. When the political party he did not support won, you know what? They almost closed down his business. At some point, there was a businessman who the government ensured he was the only one that was interfacing sugar from Nigeria out. Now, guess what? Is he the only one that can produce sugar? Produce sugar and see now. You see, NDLEA come and they'll be looking at the sugar, they'll taste it here, bring Gary, they'll show Gary there with your sugar and drink it. I say, there's still problem in this guy. There's still problem in this sugar. I taught you something about Solomon in relationships. I told you Solomon never married 700 women for sex. He married 700 women to interface between the economy of many countries. Many of you, you know your and this is why, can I tell you the truth? I want to ask you, does Tony Elumelu, for example, is he a Christian? You know he's a Christian. Have you ever seen any major man of God's picture or whatever on his profile? You will see he will celebrate a man of God. He will celebrate possibly an imam. On their birthdays, he celebrates. You know why? His product is both for Christians and what? Muslims. Dangote is a Muslim. But can you see Dangote and say, you're a Muslim? He doesn't give that vibe. Recently, I heard that, I think that was yesterday, a secular artist was in Bolaji Idowu's church. Yes, I think it's online and all. Can you imagine all the people that if they come into your state will go on public holiday? Imagine all of them inside one church. I might say we entertain that, but I'm trying to tell you that some of you are taking prejudice too much. Now, I want you to imagine, do you know that church, even if there's no publicity, next week some people will go to the church. You know why? Let me just have a glance of seeing who this person is. And you should know that by now, that man has become the solution to many celebrities. You know the reason? The street is not good again. The street is not favoring them again. So everybody is looking for Jesus, but they are looking for Jesus in a place where they will not insult them. First, they want to pour out their emotional nonsense. Can you imagine celebrities crying in that man's church and saying what their problem is? You know, I was hurt. What? You that look strong. How can you be hurt? It tells you that even when they smile, it is on pain. They are looking for somebody that can solve their problems. If you can be, listen, can I tell you, this is why one of the most paying jobs is therapy. If you have some of you now, you have grace to just listen to people's pain. Just turn it to a consultation room. Where people come and pour out their heart. And you know the funny thing? Poor people don't used to pour out their heart. The real people are people who are wealthy. Can you imagine that two rival artists can be in the same church and all of them will be smiling? Why? A man understands the law of neutrality. I said, this week is packed full. Can you imagine that the president of Palestine and the president of Israel will sit in a room, in the same room, because one man called two of them? That the president of Russia and the president of Ukraine will sit in the same room to sign a peace treaty because one man called them. The law of neutrality. Sometimes when you see some men of God play that card, you think they are not doing things on their ground. But when you see major chaos stop, it's not only those who were defending themselves that stopped it.
There were people speaking in positions of power. And you know the funny thing sometimes? The funny thing is that you don't see their works. They are like intercessors. So get ready. This week we are going to talk about assessing in leadership. How do I take my business into corridors of power? In fact, can I give you one more? Let me give you one more before we go. Those who are like that do not visit places they are trying to assess until their products have entered those places. Can I explain to you? Listen, when you appear to a space of power without your value going before you, what happens is that you have to explain yourself to be accepted. But when what you are has gone before you, can I tell you something shocking? An artist decides to do a tour in Nigeria. Everybody knows that most of his songs are secular songs. Yet Christian governors will come. They will shut up. They will even give the stadium for free. Yet the guy will pay. There are some of you. Can I tell you, this is why you must learn to increase the visibility of your product than your presence. If you are more louder in presence than the result of your product, we were talking about it yesterday with my wife. And that's one thing I love about her. She has an idea. The first time her video will clock 2 million views. Actually, in the whole of Southern Kaduna, she was the first to have that number of views. I'm saying it, keep hello, it's part of the record. Don't look at me like that. Yeah. Joke off. Now, do you know the funny thing? I told her, I said, babe, normally what they do when your video reach 1 million views, is that you do a montage and write, thank you for 1 million views. She said, no. I know what I literally had to do to ensure that she starts getting her face out there. Do you know the funny thing? Yesterday she was telling me, she said she has gone to places, people will be talking about Cute House. She will sit down there. In fact, even I too had the experience when I had not known her. I went to somewhere in Kaduna and people were talking about Cute House. And had they known that I know this person, I went to one of my cousins, humorous story, and then we'll close. For distant cousins, not by blood. So I went to his house, and then I was talking to her over the phone. And then this guy was like, they've been telling him, marry, you are an only son. Marry. So he said, Apostle, there's somebody in your city. If this lady says yes to me today, I'll marry. Like, if she even picks my call. And I'll say, show me the lady. I don't know. And you know the funny thing, some of you know I had the principle I don't go out. In fact, in Kafanchan, I can count how many times I went to the market until I married her. She took me to the market more times than I was the whole years I was there. I think throughout the whole time, except to go visit people, I had gone to the market only two to 3 times in almost 4 to 5 years. Bishop Oyedebo said the last time he stood before a bank counter is 1980 something or something like that. Do you understand? No, literally. So I said, show me the picture. He brings out the photo of my wife and shows me. Then my friend. And I told him, I said, seriously? Is she the one? He said, yes. I said, do you know she's the one I'm talking with right now? He shouted, no. Now, he had never met her. But the idea of the person she was had already gone ahead. What am I trying to say? I'm challenging every one of us out there. Some of you need to learn. I'll teach about these principles from tomorrow. How to project your identity, yet not be there. Some of you are everywhere, and yet you are not anywhere. I learned something with one man of God. I'm not going to say his name. And so I too have learned it. He never goes to where his identity has not visited. Even Jesus, I taught you that Jesus used the principle, right? Jesus will call his disciples. Remember the Samaritan woman. What did he do? The Bible said he sent his disciples 2 by 2 to every city he will go and enter. Meaning these guys will go. There is a guy that is in Nazareth. This guy is causing trouble. They don't even know that. They don't even know that it's his disciples. I taught you about how Solomon sent guys to the Queen of Sheba. Sent guys to go. There is this king in Jerusalem. They did not know that he was the one that said. How many of you remember how did David defeat Ahithophel? Same strategy. The Bible said David called one guy and positioned him in the palace where Ahithophel was going to be. Then when Ahithophel gave his counsel, the guy now said, wise counsel. But do you know that your father is not a fool? Do you understand? Great, see, it's a hard truth. Like I said, we are going integral in leadership. You must know how to plant people in your place. Now, did you know, how did Solomon become king? Who can try to remind me? How did Solomon become king? Nathan, Adonijah had already gone to announce himself as king. Then the mother of Solomon went to the prophet and said, I thought you promised, the king promised me that my son is going to be king. Then you know, Nathan was already angry that Adonijah did not invite him for coronation service. He invited everybody except him. But he had the ears of the king. So you know what happened? It was now said, he now advised Solomon's mother to go in, that she should go in and go and tell the king, oh king, you said my son is going to be king after you. Guess what Adonijah has done? Then he now said, when you are still talking, I will come inside as if I did not know what you are talking about. And I will now strengthen. Oh, wait. You don't know? Yes, we know. As if I did not know what we planned. And when I come in, I will now strengthen what you have said. Now, question. How did Elisha give back that woman who lost her land for 7 years? Her land. Some of you will say, Gehazi was just talking to the king about the woman's son who was raised from the dead and whatever. We don't know the backstory. The Bible said, while Gehazi was sharing the story of the woman's son that was raised from the dead, the woman walked in. And then he said, see the woman I was even talking about. Where there are great transactions, there is always a back negotiation you don't see. If you don't, John Maxwell will call it the meeting before the meeting. Nothing just changes. Some of you, if you want to sign that deal you are going to sign, 1 to 3 months before that, you're supposed to position somebody in that corporation. Let the person just be told, oh, this CEO. Have you heard of Tony Holmes? This guy is diligent. This guy is nice. Just be sure to settle the person. This guy is awesome. Do you know how he does his deliveries? He prays for the house when he sells it to you. Listen, wherever God gave you favor, somebody was speaking for you. God planted somebody to be speaking for you. There's a president in an African country, I end with this, sorry, that became president by planting people in relevant positions. I didn't call this name. I didn't call any name. He planted them in relevant position. When it was time to be president, it was his people that put him there. Some of you want to be great leaders, but you don't know what is happening. You just come. The first time they are seeing you is the first time they see you. You must consciously pray. Some of you. So listen, can I tell you one hard truth? Do you know something? So I heard of a man. You know what he does? He takes the billboard. He rents a billboard and pastes something about an encouragement to a man he wanted to assess. So every month he will come. Don't give up, sir. God will bless you. So the man thinks it's general, but every time that man is coming to the office, he looks at it. He's dejected, and he knows the man actually knew something about his problem and was projecting the solution every time. So every time that man comes and sees the billboard, he's shocked. This man is in the space. It's like, you are for me. Then one day he shows up. Say, I've been watching you on TV. No. That's why we must position ourselves in the right places where what we are teaching will be needed. Question: where are leaders stationed? Some of you, where are your customers stationed? That's the idea in visibility. Put your value where those who need it and will value it properly are stationed. Trust me, tomorrow is going to be an edge. Thanks for joining us again today. And I'd like to pray for you. To everyone out there, receive the grace to plan effectively. Listen to me. It was said that there was a man who accessed the throne, just sitting by the throne for 3 years as a slave boy. As a slave boy. Listen to me. May God grant you wisdom to position your business, position yourself, position your value system in the right spots. In the name of Jesus Christ. Therefore, I decree every spirit of fear that is holding you back from becoming all God has you to be, I command it to live your life this morning. I decree and declare that you receive grace and wisdom to plan effectively and to execute properly. In Jesus' name. Thanks for joining us this morning. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow on another wonderful series as we handle matters that concerns accessing the corridors of power. Remember, listen to that of last week and your life will not remain the same. It's Apostle Olarotimi Olukola here again. Have a blessed day. Good morning.